Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. Today's subject, ZWILLING J.A. Henckels vs Zelite. Chinese-made knives are becoming more and more popular. The obvious reason for their popularity is because they are cheap, but there's also a growing number of Chinese brands that also use top-quality materials. So, let's see what we get when we compare a traditional German powerhouse like ZWILLING J.A. Henckels against the new Chinese brand Zelite. In this article, I'm going to tell you the differences between these two brands. I'll go in-depth into the details of each, talking about where they are made, what materials are used and the difference in price. This article should provide all the information you need to select the right knife for your needs. ZWILLING J.A. Henckels knives are extremely durable and well suited to busy family kitchens where you need an all-rounder chef's knife. Zelite offers some very sharp knives using Japanese steel, but they are not as durable as ZWILLING. My ZWILLING J.A. Henckels recommendation. You can't really go wrong with the ZWILLING J.A. Henckels Professional S. The steel is ultra durable, ideal for busy kitchens, and it's very unlikely to rust or chip. It uses POM thermoplastic for the handle, so there's next to no chance of it distorting under the general moisture and temperature fluctuations you get in the kitchen. It's a great knife and one of the best examples of a quality Western chef's knife you'll find. ZWILLING is considered by many to be one of the best kitchen knife brands in the world. One of the first things you'll notice when picking up a ZWILLING knife is its weight and heft, both signs of a well-crafted blade. These knives are known for their balance and precision, which can largely be attributed to the brand's use of a full tang design that evenly distributes weight along the length of the blade. You can easily balance these knives on an open palm or even two extended fingers. My Zelite recommendation. If you're after the razor-sharp edge offered by Japanese steel, but don't want to pay the cost of a Japanese-manufactured knife, then the Zelite Executive Plus is a great choice. As a comparison, the Miyabi Kaizen 2/8-inch chef's knife, which is a quality, Japanese knife made in Japan, uses steel of the same hardness but costs around 50% more than the Zelite Executive Plus. The Executive Plus series in particular also has a very ergonomically designed handle, using G10 to make it very lightweight and curved to perfectly fit into the palm of your hand. It's a great knife, for a great price. If you're on a budget but still looking for quality, you can go far wrong with this. In fact, you could get the Zelite Executive Plus and a Zelite Comfort Plus series and still pay less than you would for one Japanese-made knife. That way you have the best of both worlds, one super sharp Japanese steel knife and one durable German steel knife. ZWILLING J.A. Henckels vs Zelite, what is the difference? Now that we have looked at the design, materials, background and price of these brands, we can fully understand the difference, and you should be able to make an informed decision on which knife is correct for you. The main difference between ZWILLING J.A. Henckels and Zelite knives is that ZWILLING J.A. Henckels knives are extremely durable, but Zelite knives cost less and their Japanese series are far sharper. Zelite offers the sharper blade. That's only the case for their Japanese series, but those still cost less than the ZWILLING Professional S. Zelite's German series will be relatively similar in sharpness to ZWILLING J.A. Henckels as they're made from the same X50 CR-MOV15 steel. Zelite knives also cost less. Their German series tend to be around the $50 mark and their Japanese series are around the $140 mark, both lower than the ZWILLING Professional S range, and for the quality of materials they use the prices are very low. ZWILLING J.A. Henckels knives are purpose-built for durability and they are one of the best brands around at achieving this. They use classic design and quality durable materials to create a knife that will last, even if it's not treated particularly well. With that understood, it should now be easy to choose between the two knives. ZWILLING J.A. Henckels vs Zelite, which is better for you? I have to stress that these are both brilliant knives in their own way. There is no clear winner, it's really down to which one suits your needs the best. For a busy family kitchen, where multiple people might be using the knife, then I would recommend the ZWILLING J.A. Henckels. ZWILLING J.A. Henckels is one of the most durable brands on the market and there are very few that match it for durability. If you want a knife that is guaranteed to last, ZWILLING J.A. Henckels is the best choice. That's why it's one of the most popular knives in the world for professional chefs. If sharpness or budget is your main concern, then Zelite is the best choice for you. The Japanese series of knives Zelite offers are made from very high quality and hard steel, so they can retain a much sharper edge than a ZWILLING J.A. Henckels ever could. That does mean they are more brittle though. As a result, the edge will be more prone to chipping than the softer ZWILLING JA Henckels, so storing a Japanese series Zelite in a knife block or sheath and hand cleaning is a must. Because they are made in China, Zelite knives also cost significantly less than knives using the exact same standard of materials but manufactured in Japan. This is also true for Zelite's German series of knives. They don't have the benefit of being super sharp, because they are made with the same X50 CRMOV15 as the ZWILLING JA Henckels, but for the quality, they generally cost quite a bit less. If you're looking for a quality knife on a budget, go with Zelite. If you are after the best in durability for a busy kitchen, go with ZWILLING JA Henckels. ZWILLING JA Henckels vs Zelite, where are they made? ZWILLING JA Henckels knives are produced in the German city of Zollingen, where they have been produced since their launch in 1731. ZWILLING JA Henckels are not to be confused with knives labeled just JA Henckels. ZWILLING knives are distinctly marked with the logo of the two stick-like people. JA Henckels knives, without the ZWILLING mark, are not made in Germany. ZWILLING is a huge group, which owns various knife brands. Generally, ZWILLING knives are a mark of quality. The most well-known brand within the ZWILLING group is JA Henckels, but ZWILLING also owns other more surprising brands like Kramer and Miyabi, which are both made in Japan. Zelite manufactures its knives in Yangzhou, China. Zelite is a relatively small, family-owned business. On the face of it, the fact that Zelite knives are manufactured in China might be a little off-putting. Let's be honest, when we see the words made in China, we usually think that the quality isn't going to be great, but with Zelite I think there are some large benefits from having production based there. They still use quality materials, but as the manufacturing costs are kept low, these savings are passed on to the customer. Zelite provides a range of both Japanese and German influenced knives. In this article though, I'm mainly focusing on their most popular Japanese style Executive Pro. ZWILLING JA Henckels is the real deal in regard to being produced directly in the heartland of its German heritage, whilst Zelite is definitely less authentic. That's the beginning of the differences between these knives, but there are more, starting with the steel. ZWILLING JA Henckels vs Zelite, what steel do they use? The steel used in knives will often change depending on which range you pick. This is particularly true of Zelite. They use a number of different steels throughout their ranges as they have both German and Japanese influenced knives. Their German series uses X50 CRMOV15, the same as ZWILLING JA Henckels, and their Japanese series use both AUS10 and VG10 depending on the range. For a fair comparison, I'm going to focus on the most popular range for both ZWILLING JA Henckels and Zelite knives. For ZWILLING that's their Professional S range, and for Zelite it's their Executive Plus range. The ZWILLING Professional S range uses X50 CRMOV15. This is a German steel that is used for the majority of ZWILLING JA Henckels knives. It's popular steel amongst producers of quality Western-style knives. That's because it has a particular focus on durability, whilst retaining enough strength for a sharp edge. The main elements of interest within X50 CRMOV15's composition are carbon, vanadium, and chromium. The carbon content is 0.55%. That's not particularly high when comparing it with other quality knives, however, it's high enough to provide sufficient strength in the blade for a 15 to 20 degree angle on each side, which is standard for Western knives. The big benefit of not having a very high carbon content is that higher carbon steels are usually more brittle, therefore the 0.55% content keeps the blade durable. That's the same with the strong vanadium of 0.4%. Vanadium improves the resistance to wear of the steel, also adding to its durability. The chromium content is 15% is what the 15 in X50 CRMOV15 represents. Chromium is vital for the durability of steel as it's what makes stainless steel resistant to rust. Steel need only be 10.5% to be considered stainless, so a 15% content is high and makes this a quality stainless steel, very unlikely to rust unless extremely mistreated by the owner. The Zelite Executive Plus range uses Japanese steel AUS10. Other Zelite knives use X50 CRMOV15 for their German range, and VG10, another Japanese steel. This is where we start to see the benefits of Zelite knives. The materials they use are very good quality, in this case imported from Japan, but the Chinese manufacturing reduces the cost to the consumer. AUS10 is a Japanese steel with a great reputation. It's a high carbon steel, with a carbon content between 0.95% to 1.1%. That means the steel is hard, allowing it to hold a sharper edge for longer. The chromium level is also high at 13% to 14.5%. It's not as good as the ZWILLING JA Henckels, but it's still enough to make AUS 10 a quality stainless steel and therefore very rust resistant. The trade-off here is sharpness for durability. The ZWILLING's X50 CRMOV15 steel is more durable than AUS 10. The high-carbon Zelite knife can hold a sharper edge, but it will be more brittle and thus more prone to chipping along the edge. That hardness is clearly shown in the Rockwell scale score, where the Zelite Executive Plus knives have a much higher HRC than the ZWILLING Professional S, standing at 61 compared with 57. ZWILLING JA Henckels vs Zelite, how sharp are they? Once again, I'm going to focus on the most popular knives from each brand for this comparison. That's the ZWILLING Professional S and Zelite Executive Pro. You will experience a much sharper edge using Zelite knives than ZWILLING JA Henckels knives. The factory edge is more acute and the steel is significantly harder. ZWILLING JA Henckels knives are primarily focused on durability rather than sharpness. When it comes to sharpness, it's often the angle of the blade that will be advertised, but actually, the hardness of the steel is probably more important. Often people will look at the knife with the smallest angle and say that's the sharpest, but in practicality, this isn't quite true. Harder knives will hold a sharper edge for longer. Often knives with a larger angle, but harder steel will actually perform better for sharpness than a softer steel with a more acute angle, as soft steel can't retain an acute angle for long. With that being said, Zelite offers the best of both worlds when it comes to sharpness. The AUS 10 high carbon steel has a Rockwell hardness of HRC 61, meaning it can retain a very sharp edge. Combine that with the razor-sharp 12-degree out-of-the-factory angle on the blade, and the Zelite is by far the sharper knife of the two. Zelite uses Japanese steel, and that tends to have a focus on hardness, in order to create a sharper edge. ZWILLING's X50 CRMOV15 steel will not be able to hold a 15-degree edge for very long. ZWILLING JA Henckels knives will dull much more quickly than Zelite knives, and to maintain even the 15-degree factory angle, they would have to be sharpened frequently. However, the benefit of using softer steel is that ZWILLING JA Henckels knives will be much more durable. Since the Zelite uses a harder steel, it will be more brittle. Combine that with the very acute 12-degree angle, and Zelite knives will be more prone to chipping along the edge if they are not looked after carefully. Overall though, this is a clear win for Zelite and is probably its best feature. ZWILLING JA Henckels vs Zelite, what are the handles made from? The material used for handles is a vital and often overlooked feature of any knife. A quality handle is often the sign of a quality overall knife. Handles need to be made from a durable material that can withstand all the heat and moisture fluctuations knives can experience in the kitchen. Once again, we'll focus on the two main ranges from each brand, the ZWILLING Professional S and Zelite Executive Plus knives. ZWILLING JA Henckels use a thermoplastic material called POM, polyoxymethylene, for their knife handles. Materials like these are ideal for knife handles due to their extreme durability. POM is specifically designed for high stiffness and stability, and being a thermoplastic means it's also extremely resistant to temperature and moisture changes. Zelite uses a fiberglass laminate called G10 for their Executive Plus knife handles. Not all Zelite knives use G10, but all Zelite ranges do use good quality materials for their handles, such as Pacawood. G10 is a fiberglass laminate, making it a fantastic material for knife handles. It has the perfect combination of being extremely lightweight and very tough. It will be able to withstand any of the standard pressure of a kitchen. Zelite focuses quite heavily on making comfortable handles, and their knives ranges to use a variety of materials for their handles, not just G10. But they always use quality materials, such as Pacawood for their Alpha Royal Japanese series, a quality wood/resin material commonly used as a material by traditional Japanese knife manufacturers. So whichever range of Zelite knives you choose, you can be confident that the handle will be a quality, durable and comfortable one. Both POM and G10 are top quality knife handle materials, so there is little to choose between the two here. ZWILLING JA Henckels vs Zelite, how much do they cost? Both these brands have wide ranges of knives, all at differing price ranges. To allow for a fairer comparison, I've categorized three of their major ranges that represent their highest and lowest cost knives. I've tried to compare similar knives, sticking to 8-inch chef's knives or the closest equivalent they have in the range. In brackets next to the general price range you'll see the name of the range. These prices are rough estimates. Prices do change over time, but this is intended as a rough guide. As is clear to see, Zelite knives are consistently lower in price than ZWILLING JA Henckels. Typically Zelite's German-influenced 8-inch chef's knives are around $50 to $60 and their Japanese-influenced chef's knives are around $130 to $150. That's vastly lower than the ZWILLING JA Henckels knives, and a lot of the difference is because Zelite manufactures their knives in China. However, their materials are still top quality. Their German series uses the same X50 CRMOV15 German steel that ZWILLING JA Henckels use, and their Japanese series use either AUS10 or VG10, both steels that can be found in Japanese knives easily costing over $200. These steels are all made in either German or Japan and then exported to China for assembly of the knife. For me, that makes Zelite incredibly good value, and it justifies the fact they are produced in China. Frankly, if you found a knife using the same materials as Zelite but manufactured in their heartland, German or Japan, they would easily cost 50% to 100% more than Zelite knives do. So if you're looking for a quality knife on a budget, Zelite is the winner here.